Hi, so I wanted to create this video today about my personality type, which is a rare personality type according to Myers-Briggs. Now, if you have not taken a Myers-Briggs test, I will leave a free link to a test there in the description. If you follow that, you can go and take the test. When you take the test, you want to test according to your normal behavior, not your best behavior. This is very important because when I first took the test, I took the test based on my best behavior, and it showed me as an ENFP. But when I retook the test, I took it according to my normal behavior, and I tested as an INFJ. Now, this might actually surprise some of you. The I stands for Introverted. Now, I am an introvert. However, as you can see, I'm very extroverted. So obviously, I have greatly improved my social skills starting at a very young age. And I want to tell you about that because it's so important, an important part of why my personality is different. So at 14 years old, I was friends with an ESFJ, which means a social butterfly. And knowing that I was having trouble, serious trouble, struggling socially, he offered to help me by teaching me how he socialized with everyone. So what he did was he set up a classroom at 14 years old, I kid you not, and he taught me for 3 days straight on how to be more sociable, and we also role played. And then after that, he took it one step further. He took me out to parties and such, and he stood right next to me while I had to socialize with people. Now, the great thing about having somebody like that standing next to you is because anytime I got in trouble, which I did, he jumped into the conversation and everything went smooth. So if you have that type of personality where you're struggling socially, find somebody like that. Learn from them. Because trust me, if you pay attention to these people who are social butterflies, they have a lot that you can pick up on. Such as, oh, I just love that shirt. You know, I used to have a shirt just like that. There's all these little things. Or, wow, your house looks so nice. I actually was with a lady, social butterfly. She got invited into a party, a house party, because she just started turning on the charm. And trust me, these people in my life have taught me a lot about being sociable and getting out into the public and not being scared. And there is no reason to be scared of people. In fact, I would say that if you're going to be scared of somebody, it should be initially. So it's just like a dog, right? You're walking down the street and you see a dog and you say, oh my God, that dog looks mean. You stay away from it, right? But what happens when you see a dog and you say, oh, that's such a cute dog. You look so friendly. Well, like pet that dog, right? The same goes with people. So if you have a feeling that someone isn't going to treat you well, then you don't go near that person. But anytime that you feel that you're safe and that that person will accept you and not reject you, sure, reach out, say hi. It's not a problem. And you'll find out soon enough who the meanies are and who the nice people are in your community or wherever. And when they run across the mean ones, you just don't ever say hi to them. You ignore them. And you just pay attention to all the nice people who end up talking to you, becoming your friend, because you broke the ice. You probably were the first one to say hi. And before you knew it, you made a new friend. So I learned that at 14 years old. And to really send the message home, I have to tell you that the very next year after learning that, I became one of the most popular kids in my middle school. Not only that, but I got the lead part in the school play. Now, this is important. What did I do the very next year? Can you guess? I reverted back to my introversion. I wasn't interested in being the most popular kid in school. I had my few select friends, and those are the ones I paid attention to. And everyone else, I just brushed off. Isn't that interesting? That really tells you that my normal state of being is introvert. I'm not comfortable being the spectacle of the whole school. I just want to be a normal guy minding my own business. So in my life, I am usually introverted. Usually at home, working on my creative projects, and I'm not alone. I'm not lonely. Now, why am I not lonely? Well, I have my dog, and actually, I've had that dog now for 5 years, and I have always talked to him like a person. And guess what? He understands a great percentage of what I say. So this is Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear is a very, very smart dog. Typically, I tell him to go upstairs. He knows. Like, oh, I got to go upstairs because Daddy's cleaning the floor or whatever. And he also knows go downstairs. He knows we're going to go for a walk. What else do you? He knows go up. Yeah, no matter where I'm at. Up means to jump up on something. Go up. Whatever up is. And he can put these into different contexts, not just one situation. Not like a trick, right? Where he only knows to do one thing. So he's extremely, extremely smart, right? Yeah. But anyway, so Teddy Bear definitely keeps me from being lonely. But not just that. Because we go for a walk maybe 4 times a day, I'm always talking to people out in public. I know lots of people up and down the street. I've already figured out who won't talk to you. And so I don't talk to them. That's fine, you know? One thing also that makes my personality different, not only am I an INFJ, but I'm a gay male. So that actually throws another twist into the personality, right? Because obviously a gay male is going to act different than a straight male INFJ, and that's just the way it is. So I think that even makes my personality even rarer. In the Myers-Briggs personality test, when you take the test, it will show you as one of 16 different personalities. Now, if you disagree with that, then I would suggest going and taking another test somewhere else. And again, stick to your normal behavior, not your best behavior, and see how the test comes out. So one thing about my personality as an INFJ is I am extremely independent. This is very common amongst INFJs. I cannot answer for other INFJs, but I would say for myself, that is such a huge, important factor in my life. I am not the type of person who will flourish in a codependent relationship. If someone is very needy, I will push away. And I am not the type to be needy either. I am extremely independent, and I need that in a partner. So, should I get involved in a relationship, it would most likely be somebody else who is extremely independent, doesn't need someone else constantly in their day. I have grown over the years to understand that I am a very unique personality. I am not easy to match up. And so it's actually better for me to remain single and not get matched up with somebody who, one, may think that I'm strange because I'm not like everyone else, or two, I just simply won't like them because they're not independent enough in my mind. Now, there is a difference between an INFJ and a Sigma INFJ, and I happen to be a Sigma INFJ. I'm very goal-oriented. I always have been. It's not something where I sit down and say, okay, let's make a goal. Okay, I want to go to Paris next year. That's my goal. It's not really like that for me. For me, it's more of what do I really, in my deepest heart, want to do? What is my deepest passion? Because as soon as I accomplish one, guess what happens? There's a new one that drops into that bucket. So my biggest thing is always figuring out what is the one thing I want to do more than anything else in my life at this time or possibly next year. So that's how I ended up in the Philippines and sometimes I think years ahead. I say, where do I want to be when I retire at 62? I was 55 years old when I moved here to the Philippines. 61 now. Yes, I am retiring at the end of this year. Officially. I'm actually already retired. I'm living on my savings. That's the advantage of coming here to the Philippines. A low cost of living, $250 a month. You can check out that video here on my channel. We'll tell you all about it. So even though I am a social butterfly, to some people, I am completely the opposite. That's right. I can be aloof. I can be dismissive. I can be rude. I can be a lot of things that are quite the opposite of my natural personality. And that's more of a protection mechanism within me. If you're an alcoholic, I might avoid you simply because I don't drink. I don't want anything to do with people who drink and that their life is all about getting drunk and talking silly. This is a trait of an INFJ. We are very productive people. We don't really like to sit around and do nothing. So sitting around and doing nothing will eventually wear us thin. We will be ready to leave, go home, and work on something we have to do at home. Being a creative, I have tons of creative projects. I'm currently working on a novel. It's based on my life. I am changing names in the book, including the lead character, moi, to a different name. I have been so good at figuring out what I really want to do in my life that I've constantly went after every single thing. And so as soon as I would get bored with one thing that I was doing, I would say, what do you want to do next? And I'd make a goal and I'd go do it. So I know a lot of people can't do that, but I don't really give myself a choice. I want to be happy. And I also know that if you really want something and you go for it, you can get it. You just got to commit to it, go for it, and don't give up. So the novel I'm writing has tons of things that I have wanted to do. I've went and done adventure after adventure after adventure from a very young age till today. That's what my novel is going to be about. So another reason why I can seem aloof to some people is because I already know the people that I mesh well with and the people that I don't mesh well with. I'm actually psychic, and that's one thing I forgot to tell you about why my personality is extremely unique. Not only am I a gay male, but I'm also psychic. So even though I don't have really a great control of my psychic abilities, I have psychic experiences happen to me randomly throughout my life. And what changes that about my personality is that in these psychic experiences, I experience supernatural things which change my view of reality. So that's a key element to my personality. It's one reason that I am who I am. And if you want to know more about that, read my novel, because I am going to include my major psychic experiences that I've experienced. They're quite spectacular, a little spooky, and I'm sure people will love to read about them. Now, one other thing that is well known about INFJs is that we are very intelligent. I want to tell you why we're that way. The reason we're that way is because we don't really sit around doing a lot of playing. Like say, for example, maybe you like to watch scary movies or thrillers or things like that. We would rather watch something that's going to teach us something. We want to be educated. We love learning. And if we have an opportunity to learn versus an opportunity to play, we're going to take the opportunity to learn. So it's not that we were born smart. It's that we've accumulated intelligence over many, many years. I've educated myself way, way beyond my high school years, way beyond college. I am quite intelligent, but that again is based on my intellectual interest. In fact, if you're an intellectual person, you and I are going to mesh a lot better. So I prefer to be in an intelligent conversation versus a conversation basically about nothing important. Another really interesting part of my personality is that I have no interest in watching people play sports. Isn't that interesting? Because how many people love watching other people play sports? Tons, right? So why don't I like that? I think it's because I personally would rather be the person playing. So I don't get any enjoyment out of watching someone else play. I have no interest in that. I want to be involved. I want to be doing something. I want to be active. So to sit and watch other people play sports, not really my thing. Having said that, and yes, there are contradictions. There is one sport that I do love, but I would say that if it had been possible in my younger years, I would have played this sport, but unfortunately where I grew up, it did not exist, and that is bull riding. I love to go watch bull riding. If you want me to go watch sports with you, take me to a championship bull riding rodeo. I will be more than happy to join you. Anything creative, I'm there. I excel at it, whether it's interior design, writing, painting, photography, you name it. Video editing, basically anything. Graphic design, art, whatever. I'm really good at creative stuff. The other thing that's really interesting, and maybe this comes with our interest for learning new things, I'm extremely curious. And I'm curious to the point where I will take a risk in order to learn something new. Yeah, extremely curious, and I have gotten myself into some situations because of my curiosity, but I'm not complaining. I learned a lot. That's the reason why I got myself into those situations, and I'm glad to know what I know based on that. So what do I hate? Boredom. I don't like to be bored. And to be honest with you, I'm not. I think that there were times when I was bored, especially growing up. Back there in Mansfield, Ohio, if any of you are watching, sorry, but I was extremely bored in Mansfield, Ohio, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. And my most exciting city to live in so far, I would say, was New York City, but a close second was Palermo, Italy. Now, I was only there for 1 month, but I did rent an apartment, and it was like I lived there. And starting next year, I'm going to be spending 3 months in Palermo, Sicily, every year. So if you're watching this channel, you will get to watch me in Palermo, Sicily. It's a beautiful place. I love it there, and I can't wait to get back there. I actually haven't been there since just over, I think, 11 years ago. There's another thing that I really don't like, and that's inauthentic people. Some of those people, I think they know that I can see right through them. And so all of this acting that they're doing, I see right through it. And they don't like that. But unfortunately, that's how I am. I've been that way since a very young age. I've always been able to see through people and see who they really are. So that's part of my psychic ability. People can't typically pull the wool over my eyes. So if I ever tell you someone's a bad person, you should listen to me the first time. Chances are I won't tell you again. The other kind of person I don't like is lazy people. Lots and lots of people are lazy. They don't really have any goals in their life. They just want to sit around. I want people to be in my life who have personal goals that they're accomplishing. When you go to work, you're accomplishing somebody else's goals. Those don't have anything to do with you. So for people who really aren't going anywhere in their lives, that doesn't really interest me. And that's not me. It never has been. I've worked and I've also pursued my goals, my personal goals, and that's why I've had so many adventures, because a lot of my personal goals involve going somewhere really cool. Like, I wanted to go to New York City, I went. I wanted to go to Seattle, I went. I wanted to go to San Diego, I went. Nashville, I went. Florida, I went. North Carolina, boom. Italy, boom. And the Philippines, here I am. Tons of places. I just decide, hey, I want to go there and live for a while. And so I do. Now, one thing about my personality type, INFJ, is that we are very happy with who we are. We don't fit into societal norms, and we frankly don't want to. We really appreciate who we are, and we love being different. We love being unique, and we're fine with ourselves being exactly who we are. I'm extremely focused on improving myself. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm going out and working really hard to do one thing or another, but it's more of a gradual thing. It's just part of my life that I do these things. Like for 4 months now, I've been really going to the gym seriously, working on my body, and not only the looks of my body, but also the health of my body. Now, one thing at 61 years old, you may be experiencing, if you're that age, is maybe your ankles are getting a little big besides your waistline. Well, that means that possibly you're having heart conditions. And one thing that's really remarkable since I've been working out is the swollen ankles have disappeared. So it's basically letting me know I'm reversing poor health. So that's really great. And I'm more excited about that than making my body look wonderful. Although a wonderful looking body in my 60s would be an awesome thing indeed. Another thing that I really don't like is difficult people to get along with. I've been in situations where people have been extremely difficult, and you will find that I will not put up with it. For example, I had a job in New York working at a tea shop, and I tell about this in my novel. I went into this place to be the assistant to the owner, and I have a lot of office experience, a lot of management experience, so that was a very easy job for me to do. Unfortunately, the second day that I was there, she went off on the employees like she was a lunatic. And I had been with the employees prior to the time that she went off on them. I saw absolutely nothing wrong with their behavior, what they were doing, the work situation and everything. She had everything to say about it. She was just angry. Now, there are people who have mental illness, and I do believe she is one of those people. So she felt this need in her own mind to go off on other people. I actually read in a magazine about her being that type of a boss, and they kind of made a joke about it. But I can tell you from personal experience, it was not a laughing matter. In fact, right after it happened, I went up to her office on the 3rd floor, and I let her know, if that's how you treat your employees, I'm not interested in working for you. You know what she said? I'm sorry, it won't happen again. I said, I hope not, because I grew up in a house like that. My father was very angry, and I decided when I left that, I was never going to put myself in that situation again. She goes, I'm really, really sorry. It won't happen again. I knew it would happen again, but you know what? I bid my time. I stayed there. Not even a week later, she went off again. You know what I did? I went downstairs, I grabbed my coat, and I walked out the door. And I only went back for my paycheck. That was it. I didn't need to say anything more to her. It was already said. So in situations like that, I know a lot of people will sit there and they'll suffer and they'll think, oh, but I won't find another job. You know what? I got news for you. You will, because you're not meant to be in that type of situation. If someone's treating you horrible, whether it's a partner, an employer, or whatever, get the F out. Get out. You'll find out. You will survive. I've done it so many times. I can promise you, you will not fall apart, die, starve, and go hungry. You will actually improve your life and hopefully prevent yourself from getting into another situation like that in the future. Another thing about Sigma INFJ, for me, is that I am an extremely deep thinker. If there's a situation that happened that really riled me, I'll be thinking about that situation for the next 3 or 4 months, if not longer. That's how much I think about stuff. And I also will think something completely through before tackling it. I will figure out, like, if I'm afraid of something, I'll figure out why I have that fear. and I'll work to remove that fear so that I can go and do whatever it is I want to do. So being a deep thinker is very much part of who I am. And when I'm talking with somebody, you will find out that I'm talking with them about something very deep. I'm not usually a surface person, not shallow at all. And when I have a conversation, it's usually pretty meaningful. And I want to learn from the other person as much as I want to share what I know with them. Now, another thing about me as a Sigma INFJ is that I believe all life experiences are important. In fact, some of your worst life experiences are your best lessons. Think about it. If everything's going hunky-dory, there's not much to learn. But when shit hits the fan, now you got a problem and you got to figure out the solution. And guess what's going to happen from figuring out the solution? You're going to become more intelligent. And if you use that intelligence in the future, you'll be sure not to get yourself into the same situation again. And I found this to be true in my life. And it's one reason that as I've gotten older, I've been in less romantic relationships because I know which ones don't work for me. And so I avoid them. And when I do meet somebody who I do feel we have that connection and everything is going great, I know to go slow, real slow. Why? Because when you go too fast, that's when you actually trip up and you make mistakes. There's no reason to get in a hurry if you're getting started in a new relationship. Go slow. If it's meant to be, everything will work out. And guess what? If it's not meant to be, you can just push it aside and move on. No big deal. Now, as far as my judgmental side of my personality, I will say that the judgmental is not in a negative way. It is more in an intellectual way. So what I mean by that, say that you say, oh, I'm going to do this or that. And I already know, through my judgment, intellect, you're not going to do that. So am I judgmental in a negative way? Not necessarily. I don't have any problem with what you're doing. Now, if I think that what you're doing is wrong, then yes, I'm being judgmental. But I don't, who am I to say what you're doing is wrong? Maybe you are playing at the beach every day. And say that I think that's wrong. But here comes a day, there's somebody drowning, you run out and you save their lives. How could I say, oh, you should have been doing something else? Oh, it's not for me to judge. So when I say that I'm judgmental, it's an intellectual way. It's a way of knowing things like, yes, you say you're going to go and do something besides go to the beach, but I know you're going to be at the beach. Okay, so it's more like that. The other thing that's very common with INFJs is that we can figure out our own problems. So this has been something that's been part of my life from, I don't know, very young age. I don't have a problem to figure out my problems. So if I ask people for their advice, a lot of times I'm being more playful. I just want to know what people say. And maybe I already know the answer. And I just want them to feel like they helped me with something. But generally speaking, I don't need any help. I'm extremely self-sufficient when it comes to solving my own problems. So I really like that about my personality type. I know other people, they need a lot of input, and then they choose the best answer, and that's what they go with. But for me, I don't need that. Okay, so I think we should end this here. And maybe you're an INFJ, and you're watching this to see how we are similar. Leave a comment below. If your partner's an INFJ and you're trying to figure them out and you have a question for me, drop that down below. If you want me to answer something in a future video, whatever you want, if you have any questions, comments, just drop them down below and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions in a follow-up video. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.